we are, what did we call it? Oh, adding data app, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see where we're at right now. What the
You
hell?
have to get into the
Thank you.
adding data app folder. Yes.
Alright, so. Hold on one second. This is one of. No, I'm not going to get that recorded. Okay. And Regina was here last night. She's one of the people who's coming tomorrow. Okay, so.
Admin.
And then we had like this or something, right?
Yeah.
Zena! Alright.
Yeah.
So I want to make a route so that something actually comes up when I do this. But all right, so basically we've got data, we have an HTTP response, but we want it to actually show in like a template, right?
Right.
So what we're going to start doing is creating those.
Create a folder called templates.
I think we might have already done that too. Let's see.
I don't think so. Oh yeah, you did
I think
it.
yesterday, like really quick, I did it, right? Yeah. When you were asking like where do you put the files, and I was saying the only place you add any is in app. Yeah.
Folder.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we've got this. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, nothing in there. So let's make one.
So all my files that will refer back to that template static folder, correct?
Anything. So this is actually a good conversation point. Okay, so. Okay.
Libraries.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So let's make it our first template. Okay.
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 So this is just a totally basic HTML document, and I'm going to save it in this templates folder.
Mm-hmm.
Not this templates. Okay.
Do you want to sit next to each other so that you don't have to like type to the side?
I'll go. Oh yeah. You scoot over that way. I'll move through. Though. No, let me go there. I'll go there.
Okay.
I thought that was good. All right.
Do you need a charger?
No, I'm good. Okay, so fantastic. So we're going to save it as index.html. And let's go open up our. So now we've got it, right? But whereas normally if we were going to look at HTML, we're just going to we'd open it. But we actually have to look at it through the app, right? So
Okay.
right now, what we have is, let me close this stuff. This is like a bunch of extra shit. So we have Xena here right now. And in views, okay, cool. So if we were going to put it here, do you remember what we need to do? We need to change this, right? Remember what it is?
Request template.
Close. Yeah, you're right that that's what goes here. So this is request, and then the name of the template, right? So it's going to be index.html. This right here, we need to change it to render. Okay?
Okay.
Render meaning take all this stuff and like spit something out. So let's try it. And then let's make sure that this is correct. But this is the one that you wrote yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did it, but I didn't do it, right? Yeah.
Index.
Then we check to make sure that that's correct. Yep.
Where do we put it? Index.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we already had this. I just didn't have that. So then this doesn't say anything yet. Cool.
Got it.
Okay, awesome. So now we can start doing some stuff to it.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I now create a new URL, it's always going to go through app, and then slash whatever it is that I have after app.
Mm-hmm.
It's never going to be like Facebook.com /friend.
You can if you want to.
So how do I get it from being Facebook.com app friend?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
The way you do it is here. In this one. Okay.
Why do you prefer? Why were you doing it through Facebook.com app friend as opposed to Facebook.com friend?
Just because when I'm teaching, so that people don't like when we're adding multiple apps, like people aren't like, huh, what the hell? Like, how do I make that work? Like, I'll usually teach the long way first, then the short way. That's just a teaching preference. Yeah, but we can do this if we want. We can leave it that way. So this is just saying whenever, like, that's the thing. I could also say something like whatever. It doesn't matter. If I was doing something like this, then this won't work anymore, but this will. Okay. So
then we can stick with Facebook.com app friends.
okay, cool. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I actually think, this is actually better if you're only going to have one app like this. So.
But if you're going to have multiple apps within, so if you're going to have multiple apps within the Google, you create Facebook.com app friend.
Right.
Got it.
So right now, okay, so our template is passing, it's saying this, but there's no warriors here, right? So now we got to figure out, okay, how do we get it from the database and then give it to the template? That's all we're doing, right? Yes. And later we can talk about, like, if we want to, like, style it a little bit, we can do that. So I'm going to close this because these are fine now. But okay, so remember what we did here up there where we were just saying Zina? Okay, so what do you think? How do we go get the whole list and then give it to the template?
I know it has something to do with squiggly brackets.
The squiggly brackets are going to happen here. Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Can you explain that?
Yeah. So whenever we want to pass data to an HTML doesn't know how to do anything with data, right? Django knows how to take HTML and Python and do stuff together. Anytime you see squiggly brackets, that is Django speaking. It's not HTML, right? It's basically saying, like, okay, HTML, you act like you want to, but make a little spot for me to put some data into. Okay?
Okay.
So if you want to, so there's two ways we do squiggly brackets. Oops. So if it is any sense?
Explain that.
Yeah, so if it's just like stick something here, this is just going to be like a piece of data. It's like this. If it's something where it has to think, like to do a loop or something, then you have to put that stuff within these. So if we were going to do like if, you know what I mean?
So this is the top one with the percentage would be for like if I wanted a list, like give me a list of all the women.
That we're going to do in views. So one thing in templates you can never do, it can do loops and if statements and placing stuff, but it can't calculate anything. Okay? So it knows how to go through a loop. It knows how to do an if statement. So for example, if we wanted to do this, what does her battle cry sound like? I forgot. Okay. It's a for loop that's going through all the warriors, but in this case it's saying like, okay, and if it's Xena, you're going to be like, ah, or something like that, right?
Okay.
But you see, for like loops and if has to have this thing here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have an idea actually. Okay. So I can do stuff like this. This is putting it on one line. In HTML you can do that. So what I'm doing now is I'm looping through, always putting the warrior's name, and if they're not real, it's going to say that. So we'll show you what that looks like. So this is saying, okay, cool, I want this stuff, but when I reload it, it's saying, oh.
Indent?
It's reading, it's thinking that I'm actually doing something here. I'm going to erase that, because it's reading it as if it's an actual one. You can understand the comment. Okay, so...
Hello.
Hi, what's going on?
Where's Kat?
Kathy?
Yeah.
Hold on. See, she ended up coming in the training space. One second.
No problem.
Sorry.
Cool. So we reloaded it, but nothing's happening, right? Why not? How come I'm not seeing anybody? Because it knows where to put stuff, but right now this is just an empty slot. There's no data going into it, right? So we actually have to give it the data. So I can do this. Okay.
So this is you connecting it.
Mm-hmm. So I can only ever ask the database for stuff.
To the HTML.
Yes, exactly.
So I brought some dumplings from Turkey Underground for you all.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you.
HTML.
Yeah. So this is how we're going to do that. Anytime I want to give some data to the template, I just need to put it here, like this. So whatever, it's going to look like this.
I don't understand that part.
So yeah, so what this is saying is, wherever in the template you see this variable, replace it with this data. So if I was to say This black one is what it's called in the views file. The green one is what it's called in index. There. Okay? So we have to match.
Repeat it again.
Yeah. So this thing like this, whatever it is, this is it would have this somewhere. This has to match this.
Okay.
And then this, oops, sorry, wrong thing. Sorry. Nope. This one has to match this name.
Mm-hmm.
So if this was Y, this would not work.
Ah.
I'd have to do this. This is like the connector, okay? And then this has to match whatever I did in my database, you know, like the query from views.
Oh, yeah, because you need somebody
This.
to drive.
Okay.
That's what you're saying.
Whatever this is. Okay, so whatever I'm saving that data as in the Python is what I put on that side of the colon. Okay, and then whatever it needs to be in the template is on this side here. So
Oh,
these
so
two have to
this
match and these two have to match.
So this is what I have in my database, and this is what I have in my
Template. Yep.
front end.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because sometimes you'll need to change this, but you want this to stay the same.
So isn't it supposed to be like, what is the woman warriors that you have?
Yeah, but that's here, right? So what I did was, make sense? Yeah, so I made a data, I went and asked the database for something. I got it back, I put it in a box called My Warriors, and now I'm gonna give that to the template. And what I'm saying is, hey template, you know where you've got all warriors? Cool, just use the one that I'm calling this. My box called My Warriors goes with your slot called All Warriors. Okay? So now let's see, this should work. I hope. Yeah.
Question. Why, if you have here, why do you have this part here, woman warriors dot object all? Why is object all for?
What's object all?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's the part that's asking the database.
That's the not Unicode part. This is the computer language part.
This is the SQL query. It's asking the database for something. So if I say, let's go in here actually.
So if you say something like first name or name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can do that. So, oh.
You have to go into the.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So, great. Okay, so.
What
Okay.
was that, right?
I forgot the S, objects.
Okay.
So this is how I would ask it for like one thing, right? So if I set Justina, okay, great, I've got it now, right? It went and got it. That's how I ask it for one thing.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But-
okay. I see it. I see it.
If I want all of them, the way I ask for all of the,
Objects all.
that's how I go get everything. So these are just database queries. Anytime you see this like capitalized model dot objects, that's a database query. It's asking the database for something. It's a way of doing that instead of using SQL. We can just send a SQL command through Python.
How will you create a query where you can create just Sina, just blah blah blah, just blah blah blah?
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have to type just Sina for every single one.
Yeah. Well, what we would be doing is actually, well, we'd make another view that does this. Let me do this first, and then we'll get to that. Okay?
Okay.
So. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll do that.
Okay.
So we'll show you that. All right, so what we'll do is when this list prints out, we'll say if you want to click on one, you can get all the info about them. Okay, and then you'll see that we can write it just one time without having to just, just Niobe, just that stuff, okay? So that's a great thing. Actually, that's a really good next step for us to do, so that's a good question. Okay, so right now, we're looking at this like this, but it's kind of ugly. And see, this worked. It said the only person who was not real, it actually wrote that, right?
Uh-huh. That's
Excuse me. But actually, Niobe's not real either. I wonder if I forgot to say that about her. Hold on. Oh, that's not real. She's not real. She's a character. Okay, so I'm just updating her information in the database. There we go.
I think you just saved every single person.
Okay, great. So now all the ones where that's false, that's showing up that way. But this is kind of weird. It's like in a line, right? We should make them down like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's go do that. And that we're going to do in the template. So what we're doing right now is, yeah, I'm just having a for loop that's just like, brr. But if I wanted to actually make them like, let's give them each of them should have their own div. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's better. Okay. And actually,
Why are the divs like line breaks?
yeah, so that's the difference between a div and a span, right? Divs and spans are exactly the same thing, except that one of them stacks like this and divs always go down like that. See?
Okay, got it.
But if we wanted to, we could also do this.
When do I know how to use span versus div?
Pretty much, div is to hold stuff. Span you almost always use only to like select part of a line of text. So we could also do this though. You know, if I want, I could also make it as a list, right? So I start the list here, and then there's an item for each person, and that will make it come out like bullets. See?
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that. And then maybe I want there to be like more space. Oops, that's not right.
So span is like if you create.
If I want to just like warriors we have or something. To select,
Exactly. Like
it's
you
almost
wanna
like if you get a
make
highlighter,
it
like yeah, yep.
Got it.
Okay, cool. So awesome. So we've got that. So, but now what I want to do is I want to say when I click on their name, I want to go to their profile. So how do I do that? First, we're going to have to turn this into a link. In a second, we'll actually put the URL there, but right now I just want to see it turn up like a link. Okay, great. So cool. But when I click on it, it's not going anywhere, right?
Right.
So I have to say, this is where I want it to go. So let's actually send it to, if you were just using HTML, I could just do this. But since we're passing it through Python, I actually have to send it to the view,
Wait,
not the
say that
template.
again?
So if I was just, if I was not running this through like Django, if it was just a bunch of HTML files together, then I could just write the name of the HTML file I wanted to go to right here.
Right.
Right? Or like, links we can do like that. Like, woo, it's going to Google, right? Pointlessly. But if I do this here, what's going to happen is, it's not going to work, right?
Because you haven't created a reference to that.
Yeah, well because it doesn't exist for one thing. But also, when we're in Django, we don't put the name of the HTML, we put the name of the view we want it to go to, okay? So for example, like I'd say, okay, let's go to about. Okay, so the way I have to do that in Django is this. Remember this? I think that's correct. Let me make sure that's correct. That's not correct, hold on. What is it again? I always have to look at this stuff. Ah, okay. There's no... like that, okay? So that says go to, I always want to put here the name of the function in the views that I want it to direct to. So what do you expect, so if we put this there, what do you expect will happen when we click on it? What are we going to see?
Now we have to create a function under about that whenever a woman is clicked, it will go to that woman's biography.
Cool. So right now,
right?
Yes, exactly. So right now, let's see what happens. So right now, if I go to Zena, ooh, it says Zena, cool, right? Right, if I go to Dolores, oops, it also says Zena. Damn, right? So right now, it's always going to the same thing, but we want to make it dynamic, right? We want to make it change when...
Why is it saying Zena?
Because remember we wrote this in here? This is what we did yesterday? This right here?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So first thing we should do is let's actually make a template, right? Okay. So we can go and let's get rid of this silly thing here. So we'll do instead. Right. And what I want to do is pass
Wait, do you save a new HTML?
Yep, I did.
Under
Right here.
what?
About. Right here, see? So now...
Wait, this is a whole new one?
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if that works. Yeah, this is a whole new one. I just saved the index one as this because it's pretty basic. There.
Pause.
Yep.
I think I just had a...
Got stuck. Yeah.
So what we were doing here, where is that?
This
This
is...
okay.
And then I just saved a copy of this basically because it's got so much of the same stuff. There. This is about.
And about.
Here's index. It's longer. It's got all this stuff. Right? That's this page.
Also, when you click on this, it will go to another HTML. Okay.
Yeah, it will go to, specifically it will go to the about URL, so it goes over here. Or sorry, actually, let's do the whole thing, right? So it goes, bing, oh, I have to go find a URL called about. Okay, so then it goes here. It goes a URL, oh, there's about, there's about. Okay, that's for this view. Okay, so then it goes to that view. Then it goes and does all this stuff, and then it goes here and there. And it brings me to this HTML. So that's the loop. That make sense?
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're smiling. That means you get it. Okay, great. So let's see if it works. Yay! Okay, cool. So that worked. We got it to go to the right place, but it's still saying Xena, right?
Xena.
Why? Because here...
You have about...
Yeah, because I'm actually saying go find Xena, right? So instead, let's say... Okay, so let's do this again. So every one of these has an ID number in the database, right? Every time you add a new one, it adds one like this. Okay? So there is something I can do.
We set up an ID?
We did not. Every time the database adds a new line, It just adds a row number.
Okay.
Okay, so it automatically adds that stuff. So wait, is that right?
ID 1.
I forgot what it is. Hold on a second. Oh, you're right, sorry. There. The primary key. Whatever is the primary, unless we say always look them up by name or email address, it will always be by the ID. Primary key means like whatever we say is like the reference number. It's kind of like if you had a bunch of folders, like whatever's written on the tab at the top. Okay? So let's see, who's that? Okay, cool. What if I said third one? Go get whoever's ID number is 3.
I think it was the lowest.
Yeah, so let's see. Yep, her. Okay, so but you see how we're just changing the ID here?
Uh-huh.
So what we can do now is...
The primary key.
Yeah.
Question mark? But
Yeah, exactly. So what is it? It has to be something that we pass along. So it would be cool if when we clicked on their name, that it not only went to about, but it also took that number with them. Make sense?
no.
So, what if...
Wait.
So how about this? How about, can we... When you click on this, what we're saying now is go here, but take this with you. Take their number with you. Why? Because you're going to give it to someone. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, hold on, let me get this right.
So when you take the name, also take the ID, but you don't necessarily need the ID.
You're not taking the name with you, though. Right now, all it was saying is this.
You're taking the ID to reference?
You're taking...
name.
Yes. It's easier to take a little number along than the full name. Okay? Because look, it's shorter for me to write this. I could write this, right? It knows that's so fast because all it knows, it goes go exactly to line 3 and go get that, right? Okay? If I was going to look her up by name, I'd have to do this. And I have to write it exactly correctly like that. It's longer, right? So I have to do all of this. And what it's going to do, it's going to be slower. Because it's going to go through each line and say, is this longer? No. Is this? No. Is this? No. Is this? No. Whereas this goes, boop, just go to the number.
3. And then
And go get it. Just go.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the fastest way to reference something. So right now, in here, before we put this in, yeah, her name is showing it, but when we click it, the only instructions were just go to this about URL. It doesn't take any information with it, right? That's why everyone's was going to Xena, because it was just going to that about page, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to actually say, yeah, go, but take something with you. It's going to be that. I want to make sure that that is actually correct. Never mind. I think that's right. Okay, so bam. But now, great. Okay, so, but we know the path is it goes from here to URLs to views to another template, right? So we got to follow that whole path. So from here, it's going, cool. I'm going to go to the about URL, and that's going to give me some instructions on what to do with this. Right now, oops, wrong thing. In about, all it says is about. What we're going to do here is actually accept a number, too.
Huh? Explain that.
So what this is from now on, we're never going to go to just about. It's always going to be about / the name of the person. Just like facebook.com / your username. It goes to your profile page, right? Or profile / whatever, right? So now, if we type in, basically this is saying match this pattern, right? It'll be like about / all this stuff, remember, means...
ID number.
It means there's going to be a number in there. It's going to be this variable, and there might be some other stuff before it, basically. Or it might be more than one number is what this means. Okay?
Might be more than one number.
1, 11, 111, integer. It might be more than one digit.
Alright, see you later.
This means digit right here. right? If we don't put
Yeah,
this,
gun.
I don't.
Gun.
No. Good luck.
Thank you.
Kick ass. You're gonna get it.
Thanks.
If we don't put this, then this works, this works, this works, this works.
It doesn't go further.
Right. In order to say it could be longer, we have to put that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it. This should mean now. So now it doesn't understand just about, right? It's expecting something after that. Let's try it. Okay. So, looking good. So far it got there, but it's saying, what am I supposed to do with warrior ID? Like, this doesn't have anything for me. Great. We have to tell it that. So, what that means is, when you go there, go to about, take that variable, and give it to this views file. Views is like, oh yeah, okay, so I'm going to take that in, and then I'm going to use it here. And that's how I'm going to find out, because that's the number. Okay, so we followed that. Let's go all the way back through it. We click here, it takes their ID number, gives it here, passes it here, that brings it here, uses it to find the right person, and puts it on the screen. I hope this works. Cool, so that's the profile for Xena. How about, hey, cool, okay? But it would be nice if we saw more stuff, right?
Yeah.
So let's put some more stuff here. Right now, okay, what do you want to put? How about this? So how do we get that in there now?
We reference it.
Yeah, how? This is how we did the name.
The same way.
What should I type? So that'll work there.
Warrior real life. Warrior style. Oh my god.
Cool. So now let's go back here. All right, let's try it.
Okay.
So now instead of me typing it up there, we're gonna hope that our link
I'm
works.
just having like an
Epiphany.
moment. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So, may I?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like may I and I already have a mouse.
I'm sorry.
So essentially, the only just in having this as the primary key, I'm like missing one gap here. How does the computer know just where in the HTML am I referencing my primary key for it to get
You're
all
right.
that other information?
Not in the HTML. Exactly. Good point. It's not in the HTML. It is in the views. Okay? So what happened was we were on index, right? We clicked on somebody's name and it passed that ID number to URLs, and then URL said, okay, give that to about. Okay? So when we get to the about function, here's the ID right here. Going, okay, so about goes, oh, I just got this number. What do I do with it? And then what we told it is here, okay, make the database query, and the primary key is going to be whatever number you just got.
So like keep all that information for that.
Yeah, and then once you've gotten that person, according to the number you got this time, give it to HTML, right?
And then the HTML, whatever they are asking for specifically out of this pile, this is what you're going to give to them. Oh my god! It makes sense.
Yep. So, let's check this out. Should work. Actually, you do it. Go ahead. Hey!
Oh my god. So essentially just in getting the computer to just get that
Just keep passing
ID,
stuff. Yeah.
whatever you ask for, it will give. Like it will hold that information and then just give you, oh, you want the bio, here's bio, you want the name.
Yep.
So you can have so much information.
Yep.
Yes, and one ID.
Yep.
But the HTML is going to decide what it's going to show.
Yeah, because you're telling it, I only want this piece, this piece, this piece. It's got that whole object, right? It's holding the whole object, but you're referencing which attribute of that object you want to put on that template. Yep.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah. So, for example,
That makes so much sense.
so like maybe we don't care if it's real life anymore. Let's get rid of it. Who cares? Right?
Where is all that information stored? Like, say, for example, you have in Mexico, I have all this information for one person, and I am telling the computer, hold all this information, but I just want all these specific pieces. What is happening with all that information?
It's holding on to it. So so there's the database where all that stuff is stored in like a hard drive, and then kind of like your computer has a hard drive but also has RAM. So when you make the database query, it's bringing that out of the database, and it's just holding on to that object for as long as you need it, which in this case, it knows to only, this is like computer engineering stuff, but basically, it will only hold on to the object inside the function that you need it, that you called it in. Okay, so right here it's got warrior, it's holding on to it here. Anything that happens within this function, it's going to remember warrior. But once you get out of that, like if I wrote warrior down here, it wouldn't know what I'm talking about. It trashes it once it gets out of this function. Okay?
God.
That's how it's able to move quickly. Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yep. I know, right? So now the cool thing that we can do is, you know, this is kind of boring looking, right? So we can do some cool stuff like, hey, what you doing with your Friday? Look at that. What did we do to deserve this?
You guys are just great people.
Thank you. You are too. Want this?
What is it?
It's dumplings.
Yeah?
Here. All right.
I'll put them in a minute. I'll like divide them in a minute.
Okay. So, you know, this is like hella boring, right? So like, let's make this look better. Not here, but in about. Okay. So say what if I want the name to be like really cool? Okay, so I'll do something like that.
Vida.
Right, exactly. Okay. Oops.
You should have seen me and Django speaking. We were having bilingual problems.
Oh yeah.
We're like trying to like talk to each other, and then we just kept like switching. It was so bad. This leads to another question before you go on and explain that. When you this is the CSS, right?
Yes.
When do I use the dot before something and the hashtag before something?
Yeah, so if it's just something that's a normal HTML element like H1, P, you know, that stuff always exists in HTML, right?
Right.
Div, those belong to HTML. Those names HTML has, right? That you put nothing before. When you have named something a class,
So if I have H1,
anything that's a normal HTML element, you don't need a dot or a hashtag. It's just plain. Now, anytime you name something a class, it has to have a dot. So the way that we tell the CSS that, yeah, I'm referring to something that I named and it's a class, it's going to have a dot. But then what if I did this? If I said ID is bio, to reference an ID, then I have to put a hashtag. Okay?
So the ID is within a class.
They're different.
What's the difference?
IDs you only usually use for like one thing. Class is something that pops up a lot, basically.
Okay.
So class, you put a dot before a class name and a hashtag before an ID name.
Got it.
Okay, so we're going to save this, and we're going to save it in our static folder. Okay? Okay? And now we got to link it. So let's just do some stuff like For now, I'm just gonna make the name. I just want to make sure it's working, right? And do I see anything here? Nope, it's not blue. Why is it not blue? So
Because
let's
you haven't done the reference in the
right.
Oh,
Well,
you
it's
did.
here, right? But in Django, remember in the same way that we can't just write .html. We have to put in the braces. Let me show you something that I made for the other team. Okay. Okay. You and me and Dago did this.
Say that again.
You and me and Dago did this, remember? Together?
Not necessarily.
Okay, cool. So when we are doing in Django, we have to replace that with this.
Okay.
Okay? And then before we use the word static, we always have to just tell it, yeah, go get the static files by doing this. Only have to do this once on each page that you say static. But, okay? So now it should work. Damn it. Oh, I forgot something.
Do you save it?
There, it's blue now.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now let's do some cool stuff. So this is the place where we can do things like
Wait. Do you have to do it in that format where it has to be like all the way here?
nope, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
I can make it on one line if I want to, right?
Oh my god.
Cool.
Yes.
Right?
I should have set up this meeting with you weeks ago.
It's cool. You know what? You might not have understood it weeks ago. Because you had to practice and do other stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh my god. This makes sense.
Yeah. And granted, you tried to set this meeting up with me weeks ago, but I was doing
That again?
You tried to set this meeting up with me weeks ago, but
Like, I think it's because I've just been doing it so much and looking at it so much that it like I just needed to like actually sit down and talk with you and go over all the little pieces.
mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it makes sense. What was that?
I know. So in a box, there's this margin, that margin, this one, and this one. If you say margin, it makes it the same all the way around. If you want to specify, you think about it like a clock. So this one right here, this is the top margin, this is the right, this is the bottom, this is the left. So the problem I was seeing is like, yeah, I want this much gap here, but I don't want all this gap here because that belongs to her, right? I wanted to make this smaller. So this is top, right, bottom, left. Oops.
Do you save it?
Mm-hmm. Why did that happen? Oh, I did it on the wrong one. Oh, wrong place. That's better. Okay.
Can you explain that?
But what I was just
Is
doing?
that padding?
Margin. Padding is here. Margin is out here.
So padding is essentially like when you are writing like a text document, like
It's exactly. It's kind of
Where's
what
the
you call the
start?
margin in Word. So like for example, I'm gonna change. Watch, I'll change this padding. Okay. So. Okay, right here. Great. Hold on.
you already have it.
Yeah, but. Okay, see? So more space between that and that. Margin is between this and other stuff. So this is the margin here. Inside is the padding. Okay.
That makes sense. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Cool. So now what we've got is it's working. Okay. Cool.
Can we save that?
What?
Finish recording
Oh yeah.
and put it on my computer. Oh my god.